Going into this new year, receiving a few messages from a new viewer. Checked out some of the videos, also shared some perspectives, though, on some others on YouTube, some other, purveyors and shares of information. And it does seem that a lot of people have changed in recent years that put out a lot of decent information about the powers that be, only to see them, and this is an issue that I dealt with the Obama supporters, but only to see them misidentify the current representative of the U.S. government as somebody outside the establishment who's intentionally trying to make America great, better, more prosperous, more peaceful, more safe. Fill in the blank, any blank. Here we have individuals that for years have pledged to be against either the Illuminati or the dark side of Masonry, as some have specified, between a light and a dark, and so many other things, only to see them drop the ball. I would say that there's a power of influence that we haven't fully looked at with regards to what's happened to a lot of our peers through the addiction to technology. At the time I was speaking to Kyle Reardon, I believe at the end of 2015 and 2016. And so those podcasts still remain. Why we predicted Donald Trump as the president, or at least I was, but why we saw him as a deceiver. Kyle was representing a perspective of a former Ron Paul supporter, diehard libertarian. He's an author, more so than but he also does podcasts. And I wanted to get more perspectives like Kyle's on this channel. And I found it to be difficult. People would speak, but they wouldn't really speak above their breath, so to speak, right? Um, there wasn't a lot of vocal resistance to the co-opting of the liberty movement. There was a lot of shaming. There was a lot of finger pointing. And even though it's come out, just like it started to come out in Barack Obama's first year, that our current president is not what he seems to be, you still have that same finger pointing. Right now, I think there are people trying to figure out if, the allegations about certain officials about to be arrested, whether they're true or not. And we see this wild goose chase every few years, but they can also manufacture arrests, manufacture things that will further divide. I don't know if you could really divide it left versus right. It's really one segment of a population that has its allegiance to certain politicians in power. They may be on the left, they may be on the right. But see, this is really like some sort of political pop culture celebrity WE Royal Rumble circus with people on YouTube and people in the mainstream media that should know better, right? That are still riding this gravy train. As I said in a previous video, those that have figured out, right? It's like they get those big dollar signs in their eyes, or should I say Bitcoin, when they figured out, even if you don't like Donald Trump, just say that you do and do your Pledge of Allegiance, and mixing religion in with it. And that market is very profitable. There's a segment of the Western population that wants to be slapped in the face over and over and over again. There are some women that enjoy that. And there's some women that are absolutely repelled by the nice guy. And this is true. There are men and women in this society that are repelled by good men and women. Okay? And it's not something you can put into a box, ethnicity, and you can't necessarily put it on one gender. All women are this, or all men are this. We have a dominant majority, man and woman, woman and man society, right? That is bloodthirsty. And it's manifesting and manifesting in our world. I think there's some good women out there. I think there's some good men out there. I don't at all think that we are the majority. I think that there are people that keep trying to say that to prop up their idea of how the world is because they are not yet looking at the world as it is. They want to see this world in a particular light. They want to see this country in a particular light. They want to see other ethnicities in a particular light. They want to see their own ethnicity in a particular light, but it's far removed from reality. People need to figure out what reality is. You can't judge a book by its cover. Things are not as they seem. Everything happens for a reason. We're here to learn and grow. Earth is some sort of a soul farm. Does that make sense? We're being farmed. Souls are being recycled, and sometimes we evolve beyond the confines of this matrix. But see, that's really what this is all about. It's not about political gang fighting. So there are some people that are propagandists, right? Because they simply don't know any better. Because we live in a world, right, where there isn't such a positive example for them. So if we want to think about personal solutions in our own life, find something that works for you. I haven't even begun to scratch the surface of what I can do with YouTube alone. And I think we all know that. There's so much growth that I should be experiencing in this so-called artificial grid, but it's also linked to unplugging people from the matrix. So this is what I do. What you do is up to you, but it should be up to you. Because that's what freedom is. For you to choose what it is that you're going to do, whether that's motivated in making the world a better place or setting your soul free, what are you going to do to get yourself there? I know what I need to do. And I'll tell you what, the things that I want to accomplish, by the way, within this lifetime, someone asked me if I can ask God for a certain amount of things just to have a good time or vacation. I could talk to that as well. Or say, you had a week to live, for example. I've thought about this analogy. Like, what would you want to do? Like, how would you pleasure yourself or have pleasure in this dimension? And there'd be a lot of traveling around to a lot of water areas, beautiful waters. I'd be eating some amazing food. I would be interacting with some amazing people. There'd be plenty of festivals, plenty of music. Everyone would be a part of my tribe, and I would be a part of everyone's tribe. I would be in that type of reality. Should I keep going? But yes, I'd be in a different reality than this. Or this reality would change, right, to match that vibrational frequency. Some people do experience a sense of being accepted by others. Others do not. We don't agree at all, necessarily, on why that is. But some of us are born energetically, consciously, personality-wise, very different than the norm. And we're treated as such. This is how, right, David Icke would call it the prison warden consciousness, the fourth dimension, lower fourth dimension, or the Gnostics would call them the archons, which David Icke now uses that term as well, by the way. You can hear David Icke's take on it. We don't agree on everything, but I think that some of the information that David Icke shares along those lines, along other lines, is spot on, and I agree with it. Other areas, there's always going to be the area of contention. And it's always going to be, in my opinion, beautiful when a soul forks off and goes their own way. We can't just be running around parroting whatever the people are saying. That's why, even though it sounds ego-driven when I speak about what makes me unique, the reason I do that, and I'm also reminding myself that, is what sets me apart from people like Alex Jones, from Christopher Green, from Chris Everard, from David Icke, from others. I don't consider myself in their league or them in mine. Just put all the non-mainstream media in the same box as alternative media is completely illogical and in the box thinking. I've myself have made the mistake of associating with conspiracy theory, something that I see as quite damaging in today's society. So, with regards to some comments made, going back to somebody else who has seen certain people basically run PR for the current president, well, at least she's not Hillary, when we know that they know better, right? There's a reason why I don't have a lot to do with some of these individuals or really anyone in the alternative media. It doesn't mean that there isn't hope, right? Sometimes it's just a personality difference. Um, it's not impossible. We still have the ability to connect. I don't believe that it's a society where there are a lot of people, right, that are creating content, good content, honest content, um, that are certainly, I can speak for myself. I haven't had a lot of positive interactions with a lot of other people in the alternative media. I know for a fact my information turns a lot of them off, or at least does now, or maybe it didn't before. In my opinion, the depths of and I have a long way to go. I'm just telling you, I believe I've grown as a person in recent years. And I think that if you compare what I'm saying now to certain things that were said then, it's a similar type of message, but something's different about me. And I feel like I've evolved. But yet it's interesting. The more I feel that I evolve, the smaller my circle of people get or becomes. I made a video saying be careful that your closest friend isn't an energy vampire. And I let off some steam on this channel about the only person that would come and visit me. And I said some things that I wanted to say. And a lot of it just related to a sense of, you got time for me if you want to have alcohol and talk. And also get a little buzzed and start putting me down or my ideas as if that's just, hey, this is fun. When we talk about like building something, right? Bro, let's do something. Because I knew for a fact, because he told me once, that when he moved to Costia County, the neighborhood there, the off-gridders there, helped him and his wife/girlfriend. Somebody was watching this YouTube channel, right? And instead of the things that I was saying, like being taken as heartfelt, right? That was basically the end, just by discussing my feelings. Like let's discuss how we feel. Oh, nope, that disqualifies one from friendship. That exiles one from the tribe. And to see people like come at you with the psychology of calls tribalists, we'll show you tribalists, bitch. That's like, they're proving my point. And now I see them in a very different light. Now, would I rather go back, take back what I said, and still have, right, a person to come over and tell me I'm full of shit? Hey, want to get buzzed? It's better that that happened and that I stopped beating myself up about it. I already deleted the video, but should I really go to a level or stoop to a level, if you will, to where I start censoring myself? And, if you want me to be honest with you, the self-censorship level has gone up exponentially in the last year, thinking that I want to appease some of you. But the fact of the matter is, no matter how much I try, you're not going to be appeased. I'm going to have to maintain balance, right? Between maintaining some privacy in my own life and things that are going on there and emotionally, and separating that from my, discussions, staying on topic, but at the same time, sharing what's also going on with me, because that's part of the off-grid experience. Some say that they only watch my channel or are interested in off-grid commentary or stuff. Look, it isn't about this shed. Isn't it about that piece of wood? It's a friggin' piece of wood. I'm the organic spirit here. I'm the human being going through the experience of trying to live off the grid. And if you think it has something to do about the shed, you're wrong. Oh, it helps. Thank God for the shed. But it's about not to be specific, in case you're wondering, I'm getting animated. It's not the logistics of how you live off grid. It's how you live alone. It's how someone, in my case, creates media year after year after year and keeps going, despite the fact that the YouTube algorithm, I said 50% loss of income off YouTube, more like 80% loss of income. And I said in the last video, and I want to say it again, this is the best period that I've ever seen with regards to audience support, that I encourage you to join in today as we toast our glasses to the new year. And I prepare for a new year of content. If you can afford $5 per month, They take care of it all there easily. I don't even have to deal with it myself. At Patreon, they take a small cut, but that's the ideal. I also appreciate when individuals support, and it lifts my spirits, and it reminds me that I'm on the right path. But a lot of people can contribute just a few dollars every month. Some people can contribute 20 or 30. So if you can't, don't think twice about it. I just appreciate that you're there. I'll also ask, though, that you consider sharing these videos, and you can do so anonymously, right? If you don't want to put your own name, and I'm just being honest here, because I know it if people share my videos or not. It does show if the videos are being shared throughout social media. And right now, I'm not seeing that. I'm starting to see it slowly start up again because I'm mentioning it, but that's the only way that I can reach more people at this point. It's just like what I was saying with the video about automation. We're now at this level, and that's a point I didn't make, where it literally comes down to human beings, non-bots, through word of mouth going, hey, have you heard about this guy? Because the machine is working against us. The machine is working against us. And see, some of us already have conspiratorial thinking, so we don't need more conspiracies to dwell on and negativity. You need a rational person like me to remind you and myself, hey, it's happening to all of us across the board. Democrat, Republican, independent, black, white, political, non-political, gamer, right? A lot of us on YouTube have been hit. So for those of you now that are subscribing at the on-demand channel, which doesn't bring in very much, but I'm going to be doing, because I only charge so much for a subscription as well, but I'm not creating a lot of content there. Right now, a lot of the content is for free here on YouTube, available for all. Which is why I really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart, because YouTube has thrown the content creators under the bus and has treated us like trash. Yet people like myself come back because it's still how we connect with you, the public. And it's still how I connect with others. I follow many people on YouTube, many underdogs. Although I wouldn't call them dogs. Struggling humans, starving artists, brilliant minds, different ethnicities, different genders, different places on the planet. I can see their brilliance a mile away. I can almost feel it emanating from their thumbnail. That's someone to check out. That's someone with information. And I see a lot of people with color, right, that are speaking about things more so than I think I had availability to watch 10 years ago. What can this do for the world in terms of the better and fighting racism when people are exposed to, through this real time expression, what people really think and what people really feel? How can it bring healing? For those people that have called all white people the devil, how can it bring healing to them? To come across people that aren't hateful, that are speaking the truth that they understand. Is it difficult for us to see the potential of YouTube to do good things? I can also think of YouTube being used for some pretty bad purposes as well. I see what Alex Jones and others, what they've done with the internet to misuse it. And ultimately, it's been a trap. We don't know the time nor the day when the so-called hammer, if you will, comes down, right? But it's happening incrementally. And I've been narrating it the last year. How they're doing it, how it's manifesting, how they created this Russian witch hunt. They never really got rid of the fake news, but they started targeting independent media, websites, burying their channels in some cases, deleting YouTube channels, and just demonetizing videos that even talk about the news. If I even start mentioning buzzwords, I'm going to deal with a demonetized video. Now, I will say that I think a lot of you would enjoy, not all, a lot of you primarily enjoy me speaking from the heart off the top of my head without a script, not getting too deep into current affairs. Others do enjoy when I get into current affairs. Some would rather I not talk about China and World War III at all. Some would like to hear about the current updates about this possible future. I look at the future very much as I look at how I've tried to create my present, and I just want to get even closer to that goal. I can't be all things to all people, but all of the various issues in which I cover, whether it be researching the effects of the sun on human consciousness, also charting that up with the geopolitical potential in the future, where X marks the spot. Various theories, futurism theories about the 2020s and 2030s, off grid living, how that is connected to escaping homelessness for some, if that's what they want, and if certain areas would be flexible enough. As a solution to homelessness, rural living, farming, doing something other than being someone's slave or woofing at someone else's intentional community, but having your own land is a much more, and I feel like I'm a pioneer of this. I feel like it's a message, right, that the world needs to hear. And I don't think that there are a lot of homeless advocates, for example, that are aware of this or speak of off grid living or journalists. I can talk to you also about other things. I don't want to get deep into the archons at this point. But that which I have been speaking of, and which I'm known specifically for that content, it feels like a subject that's very familiar to me, close to my heart, if you will, close to my soul, and beyond, in ways I don't even want to get into here. Certain personal things, right? Because some people just don't share personal things on YouTube. It's a part of their. And we're talking about people that aren't even controversial. Listen, guys and gals, there are people out there that have YouTube channels only about making better YouTube channels, thumbnails, tags, right? And they'll do a full-on hour video about protecting your privacy if you're going to go on YouTube. And these aren't even conspiratorial, controversial folks. As someone, right, that deals with controversial, conspiratorial, fear-driven, right, rage-driven in some cases, emotional-driven, fear is a strong emotion, fear of, um, I attract, in some cases, a lot of that energy from some of the viewers that subscribe, that may not be on the spiritual path. And what someone is dealing with, and I've been on YouTube long enough to see this, a lot of the people that are straight all conspiracy all the time without a spiritual backbone are, in some cases, threats. We will really only know where that potential goes in the future. And it's the idea of sleeper agents. It's the idea of the internet being used to not only radicalize some people online, but put them into some sort of a stupor or a trance to where everything is fear, everyone is suspect, everything is psychosis, and there is no God, there is no love, there are no angels, there is no light. Everything is, it's almost like they become put on the headset and transported into that alien zombie. And it's like funny, but it's not funny. It's not funny, but it's funny. Oh my God. Oh my God. But if you look at the evolution of these video games and you learn about what predictive programming is and you identify it in the countless movies, but then look at the advancement of the video games, holy crap. Does seem like they're getting ready to put a lot of these human beings in front of these video games. I mean, I know they're already doing it. Droning people in the Middle East, in places in the United States, using a joystick, so they're not actually there manning that unmanned drone. So they've been doing that. We're going to see probably an advancement of this. It's like that movie, The Last Starfighter, would seem to be some interesting predictive programming of the humans running the machines, if you will, playing the video games, manning the machines, um, or the video game itself preparing someone to go to battle, if you will, through the simulation. We have this movie out, Star Wars: The Last Jedi, which I have not seen. Some reviews say that it has more of a spiritual tone than a religious. Others say it's a load of crap. I haven't seen it, but there could be truth in pop culture, and then there could be ways in which pop culture is used to pretty much inundate the population to alien themes. And I think that pretty much summarizes the last few decades, at least. Not to mention going back to the 1950s, where we had the black and white films of the aliens. To me, most popularized, and perhaps I should watch some of this tonight for some laughs. But it's like the Archons, the cyborgs, because like Archons are cyborg robots, by the way, not actual living beings, if you will, but inorganic as opposed to us being organic. Inorganic, archonic, inorganic rulership control. And so it seems like a lot of that was introduced to us. I mean, of course, War of the Worlds, 1939, and the social experiment allegedly from the controllers as to how the population would respond to that. But then we see in the 1950s an increase in allegations of human abductions. And I would say, a particular European genetics, women, a particular genetics. I think there's certain control, those with blue eyes and Rh negative and some blondes and redheads, heavy, heavy. And I've always felt that. It doesn't mean that they're not experimenting with other groups, other ethnicities. It means that I believe that certain alien groups are involved in abduction stuff, or simply they are us from the future. They're interested specifically in certain genetics and not interested in other genetics. How this may or may not play into the current culling of certain genetics and ethnic bloodlines that are also being demonized at this time on the earth by this alien program that's running the world governments, that's behind Putin, that's behind Trump. That's right. It is already a global government being run by them. Okay? I shouldn't have to start every video explain what I believe to be the obvious. But a lot of people are clueless. And I hate to tell you that. I think maybe we'll just start talking about this in short little doses, not trying to offend you, but I'm not going to hold back what I believe and what I'm all about. My soul literally is here to expose what they are doing to us. And in doing so, I can't compromise to impress you for one single dollar. And by being true and honest, I'm going to attract an audience that wants and may take years and years into the future, right? That wants me to tell it like it is and not sugarcoat it so I can prevent harassment, you know. But I see this being that it is their goal within the next 100 years to get out of or rid of certain types of people on the planet. And to do that, they've got to demonize them as subhuman, as a threat, like a disease spreading across the planet. Well, that's currently happening, and it's working. And they're using the internet and social media to catapult it while creating a false in the media war against them, as if they're being held down, as if the Google algorithm and YouTube was working against extremist content. No, it's promoting it. You'll still see some Twitter accounts deleted here and there. But Alex Jones is really a pioneer in this. You know, when I first heard him, the image that came to mind was Nazi Germany and Adolf Hitler. When I first heard him, and that was way back in 2002, it was the sound of his voice. It was militant, but it had the voice acoustics that, to me, I seemed to recognize that voice, and it wasn't a good feeling. But as I watched his film, 9/11 Road to Tyranny, which I considered to be a great film at that time, the 9/11 issue is very important and not even fully understood by even some of Alex's fans that will also say that 9/11 was an inside job. Because a lot of them aren't understanding how that was a part of launching into that region of the planet and then using this manufactured threat of terrorism as they fund radical Islam in the back door. And with countries like Saudi Arabia, they have this machine, right, that hasn't lost its funding. And that's what they call this machine of radical Islam, where all this funding but it's never really dealt with. And they have control of all these banks, and we have all these things going on, but yet their funding never goes away. And we literally have it out in the open as we see our current president holding the globe with these rulers in Saudi Arabia, only to hear about like this coup in Saudi Arabia and all these people getting killed and their assets being taken, and these wars going on in Yemen, and people literally have these blinders on. But I mean, we're really dealing with a hypnotized population, whether it be the technology being used. I mean, surely it can't be Trump's appearance alone. I mean, I guess there were full-on memes about the dude's hair. I mean, the guy always looked like a shady individual. Run around with the whole "you're fired" thing while people are losing their jobs in 2003. I never understood. Even then, the worship of this man. So there's something deeper behind the rise of Trump, and psychologically why. Just like the rise of Obama. That was bizarre too. It's like, folks, just because he's black doesn't mean he's bringing change. I mean, it should be obvious to you that they don't want you to revolt by placing Obama in power. And they just looked at me and treated me and spoke to me and almost energetically spit at me like I was crazy. Now, in the new America, it's happening again from the other side. This is something that I'm a veteran of. And I'd be lying if I told you that it didn't cause a little bit of PTSD, the type of isolation from society that being a true independent can cause. But in the end, it will only make me stronger and one of the strongest voices in the real independent media. I'll be back with our next New Year's Eve vlog.